today's battle report, we are going to be playing the scenario, The Prize of Gallet. Now, this has a special rule where you can have amberstone deposits. In this battle, victory points scored for objectives you control can only be scored if the objective has been activated. At the start of each battle round, the player who will take the second turn can pick one objective to become activated. Activated objectives will remain activated for the rest of the game. In addition, you cannot activate either of the objectives bordering either player's territory until the start of the second battle round. Scoring wise, you score 1 for controlling one objective, 1 for 2, 1 for controlling more than your opponent, 2 victory points for each of your battle tactics you successfully complete, and 3 at the end of the game for your grand strategy. There are 5 objectives. It's a standard sort of pitched battle deployment in this scenario. With that said, let's go check out the 2 armies that will be playing on the tabletop today. Skaven Pestilence focused will be one of our armies in the game today, and we'll talk a little bit about their allegiance abilities. First of all, lead from the back. This is where you subtract 1 from hit rolls with melee weapons that target non-monster Skaven heroes within 3 inch of any Skaven unit with 3 or more models in close combat. Essentially, they get Lookout Sir in close combat. Now, they've also got a rule called Scurry Away, where heroes, if they're ever in the combat phase, can choose to not attack and instead retreat out of combat. And you've also got the Strength in Numbers rule for Skaven as a universal special rule. This is add 1 inch to the range of all melee weapons used by friendly Skaven units for every 10 models in the attacking unit to a maximum of 3 inch. On top of that, we are going to get some Skaven Pestilence specific allegiance abilities as well for taking a bunch of Clan Pestilence models. This is the Echoes of the Great Plague. When you make a charging roll for the Clan's Pestilence Priest, you can add 1 to the charging roll for each other friendly Clan Pestilence Priest wholly within 13 inch of the Chanter. In addition, if the charging roll for a prayer is a 6+, you can pick one of the Great Plagues to manifest, in addition to any effect from the prayer. Each Great Plague can only be manifested once, and no more than 1 Great Plague can be manifested in the same turn. The Great Plagues have a variety of different abilities, from mortal wounds to allowing you to get rerolls, to allowing you to even control opponents' models in the combat phase. And so, one of the armies in our game today is going to be a Skaven army, and it's going to be Clan Pestilence focused. We've obviously got the Allegiance Skaventide here, Mortal Room of Gur, and we've got the demonstration of Strength Grand Strategy, where we need to have 3 Galatian veteran units alive at the end of the game. There's no triumph for the Skaven army, as they are more points than the other army we'll talk about in just a second. So our leaders, we have a Plague Priest on Plague Furnace. This is going to be our general, and we're going to have the command trait Master of Rot and Ruin. What this command trait is essentially going to do is just give us a +1 to our chanting. We then have the Rabid player, which will enable us to give out +1 attack. Our Plague Priest, first one of them, is going to have the Ballisterivus, the Living Cyst artifact. This is a really interesting artifact. It provides the strike first effect to the bearer if they charge in the same turn. However, you have to keep swapping it through all your heroes, so it's always best to not put it on the hero you actually want in turn 1, because you're probably going to be getting a charge off more likely in turn 2, or if you can Alpha Strike, you've got to decide where you're going to put it. But I think putting it on someone that's not your main hitter is probably the way to go with an army. There's not many Clan Pestilence units that are going to Alpha Strike. We then got Filth, which is +1 to wound for that prayer, and then we've got our third and final Plague Priest, another foot one, which is going to have disease, which is some just nice mortal wound dealing. Verminlord Corruptor is going to have the Blade of Corruption. This goes really well with his own rules, which we'll check out in just a sec as we go through all the units. But what this does is gives his weapon the unmodified wound rolls of 6, all of a sudden have a rend of -3 and a damage of 6. Amazing. He's then got the universal spell Levitate, because he can only take universal spells. This allows him to count as flying effectively. We then have 4 battle line units. We get 1 Clan Pestilence unit as battle line for each Clan Pestilence hero. And so we've got our 4 blocks of 20 Plague Monks. This means they're all going to be Galatian veterans. And then we've got 2 units of 10 Plague Monks that will not be Galatian veterans, and 2 units of 5 Plague Censer Bearers. We have the Expert Conquerors Battalion, which is going to allow us to count as 3 models for 3 of our Plague Monk unit. As you can see, one of the Photo Blade units and both the Woestave units. Then we've got a Command Entourage Magnificent, giving us the extra artifact you can see already taken. 1,975 points, 4 reinforced out of 4 units. No allies, 158 wounds, and 12 drops down on the table. with that all said, let's go check out all the units that we've brought here and talk a little bit about each of them before we get into the other army. The Plague Priest on Plague Furnace. This is a Skaven leader option from Clan Pestilence. It has 15 wounds with a 4-up save and also has a 5-up ward save on its War Scroll. It provides Battle Shock immunity to the nearby friendly Skaven units, has a nice big mortal wound dealing attack that can cause up to 7 mortal wounds on a simple 2+, needs friendly Skaven to push it into battle, so it needs at least 10 friendly Skaven around it in order for it to actually move, and it's also a priest on top of that as well, meaning it gets access to all the cool Skaven Clan Pestilence prayers and can also take the generic ones out of the core rules. And here we have the Verminlord Corruptor, a leader option for the Skaven, another Clan Pestilence hero. It has 13 wounds with a 4-up save and another built-in 5-up ward save. 2d6 attacks in combat with its melee weapon, the Plague Reapers, which also, whenever they roll a 6 to hit, will do a mortal wound in addition to all other damage. It also has the ability to do mortal wound damage as some splash damage at the end of combat, and it's a 2-cast and unbind wizard with a really devastating horde killing spell on its War Scroll. However, it cannot take any of the Skaven spell lore spells from either of the laws available to only Graces or to the Warlock Engineer Clan Scry models, so it has to, as its inbuilt spell, take a spell from the core rules. We then have the Plague Priest on foot. First of all, it's a priest, as you would guess by the name. It has 5 wounds and a 5-up armor save. It does get +1 attack to its melee weapons if it ever charges, and it's actually got quite a few for a priestly model, so can actually put in a couple of wounds here and there. A really cool thing is it is able to make your opponent subtract 1 from wound rolls whenever they are targeting in melee, and its War Scroll prayer allows this model to do some area effect mortal wounds on top. Now we're looking into the troops, and we have Plague Monks. Now, this is the Plague Monks scroll with Photed Blade and Woe Staves. Now, these models with the Photed Blades and Woe Staves have 2 attacks with a 2-inch range, hitting on 4s and wounding on 4s. The rest of the rules for this are the same for the 2 scrolls. They have 1 wound each with a 6-up save. The champion unit allows us to do some ranged mortal wounds. The Standard Bearer allows mortal units to potentially do mortal wounds whenever they die. Musician allows you to add 1 to your run and charge rolls, and if the unit makes any 6s to hit with melee weapons, the attack is then resolved at a rend of -2. On top of this, the unit adds a 1 to its attack characteristic if it makes a charge move in the same turn it is fighting. The Plague Monks with pairs of Photed Blades, all the other rules are the same. The only difference is we have 2 attacks with a 1-inch range hitting on 3s instead and wounding on 4s. So we get to hit a little bit better but lose out on a bit of range with the pairs of Photed Blades. And then we have Plague Censer Bearers, the last unit that's going to be taken in this Skaven army. They have 2 wounds with a 6+ save. Enemy units are -1 to wound them in melee, thanks to their cloud of foggy gases. They have 3 attacks base, hitting and wounding on 3s with -1 rend and damage 2. They get an extra attack when they charge, and they're also +1 to wound in melee if they're wholly within 18 inch of a friendly Plague Monk unit. A really devastating unit. If you can get these guys charged and all their buffs off, they could be 2s and 2s quite easily, with 4 attacks each at rend -1, damage 2. Quite a devastating unit. And so here we have the allegiance abilities for the Stormcast Eternals, the other army that's going to be in our battle report today. They have Blaze of Glory, which is where any Stormcast Eternals model that is slain, before removing it, you roll a number of dice equal to its wounds characteristic, and on a 6, an enemy unit within an inch will suffer a mortal wound. Thunderstruck units get to roll an additional dice for every slain model. Signs of the Storm here, instead of setting up a unit on the table, for every one you've already set up on the table, you can put one in the heavens above and say it's in reserve. That unit can then arrive at the end of any movement phase anywhere on the table more than 9 inch away from any enemy units. And so here we have our Stormcast Eternals army. We are in the Knights Excelsior subfaction. This means not only are all the Paladin units battle line, but you also get the cool ability where if in the combat phase, we get to pick one of our Paladin units that is outnumbered and give them +1 to hit and wound, generally taking something to 2s and 2s. We're from the mortal realm of Gur, and we've gone for the Triumph Bloodthirsty. Our leader is going to be the Lord Celestin on Stardrake. He's going to have a Celestine Hammer. Master of Celestial Menagerie will make him -1 to wound, and the Mirror Shield means he can only be targeted by attacks with ranged weapons that are within 9 inch. His Mount Trait Envoy of the Lightning is also going to give him some extra cool abilities. Protection. The Lord Imperator is there as well, and our Lord Relictor is going to have the Prayer Translocation. They're all going to be in a command entourage, which is going to actually give us a second Holy Command. We'll talk about them in a sec. Battle line wise, we have 3 Annihilators, 5 Decimators, 5 Protectors carrying 1 Star Soul Mace, and 10 Retributors carrying 2 Star Soul Maces. For those I haven't fucking done that properly. So looking into the units for the Stormcast Eternals, we have the Lord Celestin on Stardrake. This is a big 18 wound monster with a 3+ save, and every time this model makes a save roll of a 6+ in melee, the attacking unit will suffer a mortal wound. Friendly wizards nearby get +1 to cast, while enemy wizards nearby will get -1 to cast. It's also got a really long range, 30 inch, high rend shooting attack that can do quite a bit of damage and take out a lot of little support heroes. It can also insta-kill enemy models in close combat, along with a solid close combat profile. And also, once per battle, you can issue a command with this model without a command point being spent. The Lord Imperator is another hero option for the Stormcast Eternals. He has 7 wounds and a 3+ save, and also he's pretty decent in close combat for a support foot hero. His little Gryphound companion rocks around with him, giving him some extra attacks, and also is a reason why he's got a few extra wounds on his profile. Once per turn, this model can issue a command without a command point being spent. This is really where he starts coming into his own. And also, once per turn, a single friendly Thunderstrike unit can arrive from the Scions of the Storm Allegiance ability 7 inch away from enemy units rather than 9 inch. Another hero option, the Lord Relictor, has 6 wounds and a 3+ save. His best thing about him is he just adds +1 to all chanting rolls. So regardless of what prayer you're trying to get off, most prayers in the game he's going to be getting off on a 3 or 2+. He's got 2 War Scroll prayers. One of them can heal friendly Stormcast units for D3, and the other one can deal D3 mortal wounds and also make the enemy unit it targets -1 to hit with all of its attacks. Into our units, and we have Decimators. These are 3 wound each elite troops with a 3+ save. They have 5 attacks each, hitting and wounding on 3s with -2 rend and damage 1, and if the unit is ever outnumbered against what they're fighting, they get +2 attacks. In addition, you can take Star Soul Maces in the unit, which simply do D3 mortal wounds on a 2+. Another Paladin unit. Once again, 3 wounds with a 3+ save are our Protectors. They've got 5 attacks each, hitting and wounding on 3s with -2 rend, damage 1 as well, but their big thing is they have a 3 inch reach, which is just huge. The unit also, as long as it's got half its models with its Storm Strike Glaives, then they add 1 to their save rolls as they literally Jedi missile attacks and everything out of the air and stop things hitting them. Once again, Star Soul Maces are available for the unit. Annihilators, once again, are another Paladin unit we're taking in the army. They have 3 wounds each with a 2+ save. This is the unit with the shields. 3 attacks each, hitting and wounding on 3s with -1 rend and damage 2. They also do some mortal wounds both when they set up and when they make a charge. And lastly, we have the Retributors, our last Paladin unit. 3 wounds with a 3+ save, 3 attacks per model, hitting and wounding on 3s with -2 rend and damage 2. If this unit ever rolls a 6 to hit with its lightning hammers, then the enemy unit will suffer 2 mortal wounds and the attack sequence will end. They also, as well as some of our other Paladin units, have the Star Soul Maces for D3 mortal wounds on a 2+. Before we get into today's video, we'd like to give a special thanks to our channel sponsors. First of all, to Mithras Games, who provides us with all our amazing game mats for the channel. Terrainheim, who provides us with MDF terrain and the amazing trackers you see in games like Warhammer Age of Sigmar on the channel. The Dice Guy for supplying us with amazing dice, and Monty's Tabletop Terrain for supplying us with fantastic 3D printed terrain at an affordable price. Thank you all for your support on the channel. If you'd like to go and have a look at any of these companies, we'll leave links to all 4 of them down in the description of the video. And so, armies are all deployed for the Stormcast and the Skaven. For the Stormcast on this flank, we've got the Protectors. We then have the Retributors with the Lord Imperator and Lord Relictor behind, and the Lord Celestin and Stardrake out on this flank. Across the other side of the table, we have the Skavens. We've got plenty of Plague Monks, the Vermin Lord Deceiver, with his scary Blade of Corruption, the Plague Furnace in the center there with 2 Plague Priests, more and more Plague Monks, Plague Censer Bearers as well in there. So, the Skaven army, just so you remember, the 4 large units of Plague Monks are the ones that are going to be Battleline. They're Galatian veterans. And then we've got both units with staves, and the unit at the front here with the swords are the 3 in your battalion. And then, meanwhile, for my battalion, I've got the Retributors, the Protectors, and I've got a unit of 5 Decimators in the sky that are in my Bounty Hunters battalion. I've also got 3 Annihilators with shields in the sky as well. Stormcast finished deploying first, so we're going to give the turn to Skaven, because this means I'm going to be able to get to pick the objective that activates in this scenario, and also pick which one is going to be a proving ground. Alright, so yeah, gave the first turn away, so I'm activating this objective to start with. At the player that goes second every turn, it gets to activate one of the objectives. We can't activate a home objective in the first turn. And then, obviously, that's the only actual objective on the table at the moment, so that's going to be the proving ground. So only Galatian veteran units can score on that this turn. Skaven are getting the first turn, so with that, we go into the hero phase. Heroic actions and battle tactic. Alright, so battle tactic-wise, you're going with against the odds. You have to pick one of your units from your starting army on the table. You're picking the Plague Monks, correct? Yep. So they have to control an objective and have no enemy Galatian veterans controlling it. So that one should be pretty simple to do. Other than that, we've got heroic actions. So I'm going to try and generate a command point with the Lord Relictor on a 4+. I do. On yours?
Yeah, I'm the Vermin Lord.
Vermin Lord on a 4+. He does not. So we then go into magic and prayers. Right, so going into prayers, you're going to go, first of all, with your Plague Furnace, doing Rabid on the front unit of monks, getting +3 to this. Got a 6 anyway, so you didn't need your +3, but that means he gets a Great Plague off. You're going to go the one that gives you the reroll straight away. Yep. So, how he's getting his +3 as well, his character has +1 to start with, and for every other friendly clan Pestilence Priest within range, you also get +1, and the Great Plagues go off on 6+ now instead of unmodified 6, which is really cool. So, all your prayers are rerollable now. So Filth, so he's getting +2 thanks to 2 other friendly priests. 3, 4, 5, didn't get a second Great Plague off. But you do still get Filth off.
Yep.
And then the last priest is also going to go on them and put Bless on them. Which doesn't give you a Great Plague though, because it's not a Clan Pestilence prayer. And so just magic-wise left, the Vermin Lord, we are going to go with Mystic Shield first. Which goes off on a 7, and then Arcane Bolt, just because. Doesn't go off on a 3. So he's just got Mystic Shield. And with that, that's the hero phase done for the Skaven. So go into movement, and we'll come back after it's all done. Alright, so the Skaven have all moved up across the table. We've ran that unit over there to complete your battle tactic. You also ran the unit in the backfield, so you just bring them behind your furnace and also near the Gnaw Hole. Meanwhile, one of your Plague Censer Bearer units moved over to the Gnaw Hole here. And so they're going to attempt to charge after jumping out the Gnaw Hole into the Star Drake. Some brave rats. They need a 9. They got a 9. And they're in. Alrighty, so Plague Censer Bearers are a little bit nasty now. So they are 3s and 3s to hit normally. They get +1 a wound while they're whole within 18 inch of a friendly Plague Monk unit, which they are, just. They also get +1 attack on the charge with 3 attacks base, meaning they're now 4 attacks each. Rend 1, damage 2. I am totally using all-out defense on this. Do you want to... Oh, they're not elite, so you've got no one in... Oh, actually, no, your Vermin Lord has a totem keyword now. So he is in range to do +1 to hit if you want.
Yeah, why?
Cool. So they're going to be 2s and 2s. Go for it. 2s to hit. And then 2s to wound. That's going to be quite a few saves for my Star Drake, which will be on a 3-up base, which I don't take your -1 rend because I used all that defense, so 3-ups. Oh, wow, that's going to hurt. That is 12 damage. Ouch. So Star Drake hitting back, so we are going to be hitting on 3s with our Celestine Hammer. and killing on 2s. Killing on 3s because -1 to wound actually.
Yeah.
Which means only 1. So that will be damage 2, so that will kill a single one. So 2 wounds. So then D6 attacks with the sweeping tail for 5, sorry. These are 3s to hit. All hit with the sweeping tail. -1. So these are currently 4s to wound, so only 2 more die. And then the Great Claws with 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. And wounding on 4s, because -1 to wound, nothing. But then I've still got my... How many Cavernous Jaws? I've taken 12, so I've got 2 Cavernous Jaws. 3 pluses, you auto die. 1 auto dies. Alright, so yeah, end of the turn, you're going to use a CP to make the Stardrake stay there with you. Cool, that's not fun. Stardrake took 12 damage from them. Other than that, you are going to get your battle tactic, and you're going to score a point for the objective as well. So you're going to get 1 more and your battle tactic for 4. Alright, so start of the turn, we're going to go with my battle tactic. I'm going to go, this one's mine, so I can pick an enemy unit and I have to wholly destroy it with my general. So he's going to eat that Plague Sensor Bearer. Heroic action for the turn, we will go with generating a CP on the Relictor again, which I do. What are you going to do for your one?
Yeah, I'm the Vermlord.
Vermlord CP? Nope. Cool. Onto that, we've got Relativ's Prayer. He's going to try and heal the Stardrake, which he does, so heals D3 for 2. And then, other than that, that is it for my turn. So it is movement for the Stormcast Eternals, and then we will go in and show you after we're done. So, we've done the movement over here. We've also brought down the Annihilators, so we're going to do D3 Mortals potentially on, not on a 1. No Mortals to them. And then the rest we just moved up in the center, and the Stardrake can't move. Still have the Decimators in the sky. So we're going to go into some shooting. The Stardrake is going to shoot that Plague Sensor Barrier. So we are going to shoot that model. So we are 3s to hit. And yeah, 5 kills him. Takes 2 damage. Run 3. There's nothing he can do about that. So I get my battle tactic. Charges. So we're going to go with the Annihilators first. So Annihilators need a 7. That's a 6. Can freely reroll thanks to their Allegiance ability. Not Allegiance ability, their War Scroll. And a 10. And so now we roll 10 dice. Every 4-up is a mortal wound. So that is going to be 5 mortal wounds from the Annihilators to begin with. And then we'll roll with the Decimators, so needing a 7. They got a 9, so they're going to get in as well. Alright, so we're going to go with my Protectors first. They are a Bounty Hunter unit, so they're going to get +1 damage against a Galatian Veterans unit. So we are currently outnumbered, so I'm going to pick them to be the Knights Excelsior unit to receive +1 to hit and wounds. So we are 2s to hit. And then we are 2s to wound. I only missed with 1 hit. We failed to wound with a few more. But these are going to be damage 2, and they're going straight through. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 32 damage that you can't ignore. That is them wiped completely. And so he's going to try and do mortal wounds back to me on 6s, all into the Protectors. So it'll be 2 mortals back. Cool. Not enough to kill 1, but that's scary. And so I now control this objective because both my units, even though they're in, well, the Protectors are in the Bounty Hunters Battalion, are both Galatian veterans themselves, being troops choices in Knight Excelsior. So I control the objective for getting 1 and controlling more. And then the Stardrake also completed my battle tactic. So I get my 4, same as what Jed got for the Skaven. So with that, it's time for priority for turn 2. So Stormcast, we got a 6. You got a 1. Stormcast. Yeah, I think we need to push the advantage. I just need to take it because I want 2 turns of healing this dude. So that's the main reason I'm going to take it. Alright, Alright, so Skaven are going second, so they've picked to activate their home objective, which we can now pick because it's the second battle round. And he's also choosing to make that objective back there the proving ground, so only Galatian veterans can pick it. Not that it really matters. Most of our units on the table are Galatian veterans. So, with that said, we're going to go into the hero phase for the Stormcast, battle tactic-wise. So, for my battle tactic, I'm going to pick this objective over here and use it against the odds. I'm going to have a Galatian veteran unit controlling it, while you don't have one of your own on the objective. I think that's pretty easy to do. Then, into heroic actions, we are going to go heroic healing on the Star Drake. So, that is below my bravery, so D3 heal for 2 more coming off him. It's back to 8. What is your heroic action going to be for the turn?
Yes.
Command point on the Vermin Lord again?
Yeah.
He gets it this time. Going into prayers, I'm going to try and heal the Star Drake again with my Relictor, which does, so D3 heal for him. For another 1, he's back to 7. He's looking a bit healthier. And with all of that done, that's the end of my hero phase for the Stormcast. So we're going to movement and we'll come back after it's all done. So you're going to try and redeploy those sensor barriers. I'm going to try and sneak up on D6 for an inch.
Cool.
So doesn't make my charge 1 inch bigger. Just redeploying them away. All right, so we've moved Relictor and the Imperator and the Star Drake all coming up behind the Retributors. Just not leaving the Star Drake isolated at the moment. There's no need to go over that side of the table while there's no objectives on it. We've moved the Annihilators onto the objective, as you saw, and the Protectors have moved up, though he redeployed those sensor barriers out. So we're going to go into some shooting. We're going to go with the Lord Imperator, shooting his Stormcaller baton. D6 attacks for 6 into the Plague Monks right in front of him. These will be 3s to hit. And 3s to wound. That'll be 3 at -1 into the Plague Monks. So just 3 of them go kersplat. We'll put the Star Drake. He's actually going to shoot his 30-inch shot. We're going to go into that Vermin Lord because I do not like him with that high damage of his. So we are 3s to hit. And 2s to wound. That is 3 wounds. At -3. So, because you've got Mystic Shield, it means you do have a 6-up save on the Vermin Lord. Nope, so that turns into 6 damage. So these will be a 5-up ward on the Vermin Lord now. Which he passes 1, so he takes 5. As the Star Drake cools down comets on his head. Alrighty, so charge time. We're going to charge with the Retributors first. So... double 1. We will spend our free command point for the turn from the Imperator to reroll that. For a 5, that's still going to fail. So, onto the Protectors then charging. With an 8. That should see them in some way. So, Protectors, we are going to use all-out attack for a command point. So, we're going to be on 2s to hit. However, thanks to the sensor barriers, -1 to wound, we are 4s to wound with the Protectors. So, these are going to go straight through at Ren 2. So that's going to be 5, that is 10, that is just enough to kill him. Alright, so we just piled in both units because they're both going to attack and I can't do anything back. So, you're going to Plague Priest first. He's got D3 attacks with his Warpstone Tip Staff to start with. For 1, hits on a 3. Wounds on a 3. Wounds. This is -1, so this will go to a 3-up save because I'm 2+ on these guys. Failed. So it's just damage 1, and then he's got 2 attacks with his Plague Sensor hitting on 4s. Both hit. Wounding on 3s. Both wounds. -1 again, so 3 ups. Save 1. That 1 wound would have actually killed 1. And then a wound on another one. So the one dude that exploded into those Plague Monks, so 6s to explode. 1 Plague Monk dies as I blow him up when I die. And so now the Plague Monks, 3-inch range thanks to their strength in numbers. So, forced to hit with the staves. Any 6s we need to take out because they'll have a rend of -2. So, these are the ones that don't have rends. Rolling for these, you need 4s. So, it's going to be 4 regular saves, which I'll make now. So, these are 2-ups. Fail another wound. And then 5 now, needed, these will be rend 2. So, still 4-ups to wound. But these are rend 2s, so these are 4-up saves. Fail another 2, so that'll be him dead and a wound over. So I'm going to roll 3 more dice into your Plague Monks and explode again. For another dead Plague Monk. Best rolls of explodes I've ever had with Stormcast. And so with that, that is going to be the end of the turn. I'm going to get my battle tactic. I'm only going to control 1, and I don't control more this turn, because you still control 1. So I'm going to get 3 victory points this round. Alrighty, so battle tactic for the Skaven turn 2. You're going to go eye for an eye. You had one of your units destroyed last turn, so now you're going to pick one of my units, my protectors, and kill them. Then we go into the heroic actions. I'm going to go with another heroic healing on the Star Drake here. Surprise, surprise. I do, so I heal D3. For another wound healed on him, taking him back to 6. What are you going to do for your heroic action for the turn?
Just command point.
Another heroic leadership on the Vermin Lord. He gets it again. So, the Plague Furnace will then go Rabid, and a 3-up. 4 plus 3, so it means you're going to get another Great Plague off this turn as well. Because I do just go off on a 6+. So, Rabid, going on, I'm guessing, the unit in combat, so +1 attack. So he's going to activate Bubonic Blight Plague. It just does 2d6 mortal wounds, so you need an 8 to destroy me. And that's an 11, so they just suffer 11 mortal wounds and die. I will explode into your Plague Monks, though. So, 9 dice into those Plague Monks, then 6s do mortals. I kill 2 Plague Monks back as I explode from your stupid plague. That's only your first plague for the turn, so we've still got... so they have Rabid. So you've now got Filth from your other dude next to him. A 2 will get +1, so a 3, so we'll go off.
Yep, I'll put up my skulls.
Yep, on the unit at the front, and then you've got your other priest at the back. So the last priest is just going to use Bless, so he gets no benefits from this though, but a 3-up, I think we'll do Bless. So yeah, Bless will go off, thanks to +1 from the Norhole, so they've got a 6-up ward, +1 attack, and then they've got +1 a wound over here. Your Vermin Lord Deceiver, what's he going to do this turn with his 2 spells?
I think he slipped.
So, Vermin Lord Deceiver is going to try his dreaded 13th Plague. He needs an 8 to cast, because he is -1. That's a 5, so he will not. He's still got one other spell, so a Mystic Shield or an Arcane Bolt, if he wants.
Mystic Shield.
Mystic Shield on himself, so needs a 6. He'll cast that, though, so he's got Mystic Shield back on him. And so with that, that is the end of your hero phase. So we'll go into movement, and we'll come back after it's all done. And so, movement is all done for the Skaven. We had this unit of Plague Monks over here jump out the Norhole. You've moved up your stuff on this side, your little 10-man unit getting in range of a Norhole in case. Your stuff's moved up in the centre. The Plague Furnace moved before those Plague Monks there moved across, so you had the ability to move that Furnace. And of course, you can see the Plague Monks moving there, and then the Vermin Lord coming in near the Retributors. So, we've got some shooting to do next. So, doing his prehensile tails into the Retributors, so 3s to hit, these 4 attacks, all hit, and 3s to wound. Re-roll that one. Same result. So that is 3 wounds, so these are -1, so 4-up saves. Save 2, take a wound. And so, with that, it's charging time.
We got the Vermin Lord for this.
Yep, so Vermin Lord's going to charge. 3, so he just gets in. So he literally pops down here.
Ah, so good.
You can choose to re-roll the 3 if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to re-roll.
Re-roll it. If you get a double 1, though, he doesn't charge. Oh, I saw that one. All right, so now he's...
Yeah, the Star Drake.
Yeah. Cool. I will use Unleash Hell with a Star Drake. So Star Drake will hit on 4s with Unleash Hell. 1 hit. And wound on a 2. Wounds.
So this is -3, so he's currently got Mystic Shield, so he has a 6-up save. And damage 2, so 2 5-up wards. None, so he takes 2 wounds, he goes to 7. Did bracket him from that. Plague Monks charging at the front here. This is the unit with the +1 wound on them. That's an 11, they are in. And so they've charged over, leaving room for your Furnace to charge in with a 10. So he gets in there as well. Now you've passed around your artifact throughout the game, so he has the always strikes first rule thanks to your artifact passing around.
These ones?
Yep, your Plague Monks charging. It's a 7, they're definitely in as well.
Cool.
And then last charge, 9-inch charge needed. No, you don't have a reroll because you used your reroll to get the Verminlord in. So combat will start with Monstrous Rampages first. Alright, so we're both electing 2 Titanic Jewel here, so both of us will get +1 to hit. And then your Furnace actually gets to go first because he's got the artifact that allows him always strikes first for this turn.
Cool.
You'll have to pass it off to someone else next turn. It's been passed between the 3 characters here. So let's go with the Furnace. Alrighty, so Plague Furnace is going first. First of all, you've got a 2-up to get your Giant Plague Furnace out. 6, so it does D3 +4 mortal wounds into the Retributors. For 3 +4, so 7 mortal wounds. So we remove the 2 dudes and then put the extra wounds on that Retributor there. So we've got 3 dice into your Verminlord for exploding. No mortals from that. Alright, and so your Warpstone Tip Staff, D3 attacks. For 1, hitting on a 3. Wounding on a 3. Doesn't wound. Then you've got 6 attacks from your Photed Blades. 3s to hit. And 4s to wound. One wound, so this is no rend on this, so a 3-up on the Retributors. Fail, so that will actually kill a Retributor there. So we'll have 3 dice into those Plague Monks to blow up. 1 Plague Monk from that unit will die. And then you've got 6 attacks from your Rusty Spikes. Hitting on 3s. And wounding on 3s. Now 3, these are at -1, so 4-up saves on the Retributors. Save 2, failed 1. Alright, so your Verminlord's going next. I am going to spend a command point and use all-out defense on the Star Drake. You've already got +1 to hit. Do you want +1 to wound as well? So you can get that from your command ability. So you're +2 to hit, so you're ignoring any negatives, and you're +2. So 2d6 attacks to begin with. For 3. Ugh. Not what you wanted. So he will hit on 2s. No 6s there, but 2s to wound. Any 6s of these become the Plague Reaper. Wow, 1. We built him up so much, and then he does that. Star Drake will save. Fails it, at least. So that will be damage 1. So going with the Annihilators next. They are my Knights Excelsior unit that's outnumbered, so they're going to get +1 to hit and wound. So we are 2s and 2s. All hit. And all wound as well. Wow. And so, yeah, that is 20 damage. That is the unit wiped. With a hit wound with everything, they just murdered 20 Plague Monks. And so, 6s back would do your mortal wounds. Wow, so that's going to do 5 mortal wounds back to me as you die. So, the Plague Monks here are going into the Retributors. So, they are needing 3s to hit. And 6s to hit. Become special. And so to wound, we need 3s, actually 2s on them because they've got the prayer on them. So they're 2s. These are the ones with no extra rend. So these are just 3-ups on the Retributors, which I failed 3. And then you've got these 3 to wound, which will be rend -2. Which are wounds, so these are 3, 4, 5-up saves. Save none, so it's going to take down 2 Retributors. 2 Retributors explode back into those Plague Monks, so 6 6s coming up. Not a single one. Go greedy. Well, it's just my stuff left to go, so we might as well go with the Retributors, which are going to go into that furnace. So I'm going to spend a CP to go Unleash Thy Hatred. So I've got two of these guys. Now, these ones are fighting Elite and Veteran. No, that's not one of the 20-man units, is it? That was the 10-man, so no. No extra bonuses here. So we are hitting on 3s. That's 4 mortal wounds just to begin with. And then a single 3 here will kill them because they're Ren 2. So it's another 6 damage. So that is the Plague Monks wiped. You'll get your 6 dice back.
I'm going to bet.
Oh, yeah, they don't. So, yeah, no, they wouldn't. In it. So now I've got the 2 attacks for the Star Soul Mace here. These are just on 2-ups. I don't care about your stupid furnace on this. So 2-ups. Both hit. 2d3 mortals to it. For 4 mortal wounds, so a 5-up ward on your furnace. Plus 2 of them, so it takes 2. And then we've got 4 attacks from the prime, 5 attacks from the prime, and 3 attacks from the other Retributor into this. So I am 3s to hit. No mortal wounds there, and then I am 4s to wound because the furnace is also -1 to wound, which is cool. So there'll be 4 at -2 on the furnace. So 6-up save none, so that's 8 damage. And these are a 5-up ward. Saved another 3, so you take 5, 6, 7 wounds in total. Lord Relictor into the Verminlord, so we have 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. 1, -1. So this is on your base save because you got Mystic Shield. Saved. Now we'll go to Stardrake. Stardrake, we are going to go with the Celestine Hammer. So we are 3s to hit. All hit. And 2s to wound with a hammer. So there's 3 wounds. These are -2. So you go to a 3, to a 4, to a 5-up save. And then a 5-up ward. Save 2, so that's just 2 damage then. 5-up ward, and saved another 1, so he takes 1 more, goes to 7. We then have D6 attacks from our Sweeping Tail for 1, hits, and wounds, so another -1 this time, so a 4-up. Failed, damage 2 again. 5-up wards, another 1, so it goes to 8. And then we have 4 attacks from my Great Claws, hitting on 2s actually, sorry, because we got Titanic Jewel. And wounding on 3s. Just 1 goes through. So this is -2, so a 5-up turns into damage 2 again. So it takes another 2, so he's up to 10. Didn't quite get him. That is all of my attacks, that's all of your combat. End of combat, I am going to have to spend a command point to keep those Retributors around. So I will do so. So, at the end of the combat phase as well, I've spent my command point to keep the Retributors there. They're actually within 3 inch of your dude as well. So on a 4+, the Retributors take D3 mortals. They do, so D3 mortals on the Retributor. For 2, so that will actually kill a Retributor. So that'll be 3 dice into your furnace now. Nothing. On a 4+, the Relictor. No. And on a 4+, the Stardrake. No. So, end of the turn. He actually doesn't have any Galatian veterans left on the objective he picked to be the Proving Ground, so he doesn't actually score it. So, he just gets the 2 for the battle tactic for the turn. So, that will be it for Skaven going into turn 3's priority. So, priority, Stormcast. Got a 4. Skaven, got a 6. Taking the turn.
Yeah.
Cool. I am going to pick the center objective to become active, and the Proving Ground I'm going to pick to be your home objective. And so it will be Skaven's turn, but just explaining what's happening, because that's now the thing, he needs Galatian veterans on that home objective, which means only one of the 2 large units of Plague Monks. Actually, they're the ones that are at the back, so they're your other swords, so they're not even Galatian veterans.
No, this one.
It's just that unit. So only that unit there can actually score that objective at the back. And then, yeah. So, with that said, we'll go into the Skaven hero phase. So, battle tactic wise, you're going for Desecrate Their Lands, picking your own Naught Hole at the back here. You need to control that at the end of the turn. So, into heroic actions, I am going to go Finest Hour on the Star Drake. And the Vermlord's going to go Finest Hour as well. Cool, so that is that done. Alrighty, so what great play, what prayer, we're going to start with him. Rabbit as always.
Yep.
So he's going for Rabbit. Fails, can re-roll, thanks to getting the Great Plague off. 5, that'll see a Great Plague activate as well. And so you're going to activate the Redmaw Plague, which will target the Lord Imperator, being the closest character to your Plague Furnace. You'll pretty much get to use him to fight Star Drake in the combat phase. Other prayers, you've got your 2 wizards back there, or priests back there. Filth.
What's the one?
He's got Filth on him.
Yeah, that's one in 13. It's like a...
Oh, yep. So Filth on your furnace to begin with. Goes off. And then you're going to do the Pestilence to do the mortal wounds to the Retributors. Which goes off. So 4 dice. Every 5 up is a mortal wound on the Retributors. Nothing. Then you've just got your Vermlord here. So 2 dice. Mystic Shield first. Oh no, that's his. He's trying to use it. War Scroll Spur first. Sorry. Fails that.
So Mystic Shield.
Mystic Shield now. Fails that as well. So no magic off that turn.
Cool.
With that said, it's time for movement. Alright, so movement's all done. You've just left them there to control the terrain feature to get your battle tactic. That unit's moved over there. You've ran that unit and you just made it on to get your own home objective, which is the Proving Ground. Other than that, we've got some shooting out. 2 prehensile tail attacks into the Star Drake. 1 hit. And 1 wound. I'm a save on the Star Drake. Saved. Cool. Alright, so you're attacking with the, first of all, Monstrous Rampages. I'm going to go with Roar on you to stop you using command abilities. I fail to roar. You're going to go Titanic Jewel for the +1 to hit.
Yeah.
So, D6 attacks from your Plague Reapers, because you're going with him first, for 2. So, hitting on 2s. That is a 6, so that's a mortal wound in addition, so take a mortal wound regardless. And then 2 hits, so 2s to wound. That is just 2 at -1. Fail 1, so I take another, so I go to 9 on the Star Drake. I'm going to go to the Retributors next. Just a side note as well, we totally forgot their charge over there. They rolled an 8 for their charge and got in. I am still going with the Retributors though, so we are going to be 3s to hit. That'll be 6 mortal wounds. So, and then 3s to wound. So there's 3 armor saves at -2, so these are 3 6-up saves. So save 1, so that is another 4 damage, so there's 10 damage altogether that you need a 5-up wards on. So he takes 4, 5, 6, 7. Plus 7, 14, yeah, I think that's him dead.
Yeah, I think so.
And no, that will not. They have 15 wounds now. No longer have you got 13 wounds just for the sake of being Skaven. You've actually got a decent amount of wounds. So 15 wounds, you're alive with 1 left. Alrighty, so you have 30 attacks coming out of them because they charge. So, what are they? They're dual weapons, so 3s to hit. 6s are what you want, just 2, 3. And then the rest 3s. And then 3s to wound, these are with the non-extra rends. So these will be 2-up saves. So 2s. Fail 2, so that will kill 1. Put a wound on the prime. Then you've got 3 to make. These will be -2. Now they all wound, so -2, so I am on a 1-up currently, so 2 to a 3-up. Take another wound, so he stays alive just. But that'll be 4 dice back at you. So an extra dice because I'm Thunderstrike. 1 dies as I explode. So Star Drake is going to use all-out attack. We're going to take the free one from the Lord Imperator. So we are hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s. That is 2 at -2 on your Vermin Lord. So 6-up saves. That'll be 4 damage on him. Takes 4. I think he's only got 14. So that is the Vermin Lord dead. That is the Star Drake all done. So you do have 1 more unit to pick to fight here.
Yeah, you'll do.
And you've also got your Plague Priest actually into the Retributor there. But my Lord Imperator is infected, so he can pile in and attack Star Drake. Alright, so the Imperator infected with the Redmaw Plague. You have 4 attacks, 3s to hit the Star Drake. You are on 4s to wound because I am -1 to wound on the Star Drake thanks to my mount trait. Both wounds, so these are -1. Failed one, so you do 2 damage to the Star Drake, taking him to 11. And you got 4 attacks from the Gryph-hound on 3s. And then 5s to wound. Nothing from that. But you need to do 2 damage to him. Then have the Annihilator Prime. 2s to hit because he's outnumbered. And of course he missed with 2. 2s to wound. 1 that goes straight through, so it's just 2 dead. So, end of the turn, you are going to get the objective. So you got 1, 2, 3, so you control 1, 2 more. And you got your battle tactic as well for the turn, I think. Did you not? Yeah, because you control the terrain back here. So you got your battle tactic. So you score the first 5 points. Alright, so Stormcast Eternals turn 3. What are we going to do to begin with? First of all, the Relictor, I think, is just going to... Well, let's go with our battle tactic first, actually. And so I'm going to pick Desecrate Their Lands, picking the terrain feature at the back there to control. And then going in, my Lord Relictor is going to do his Mortal Wound, Lightning Storm into your Furnace there. So let's see where we can get it off. We do. So we do D3 Mortal Wounds to your Furnace for 3. So 3 5-ups or your Furnace is dead. So 3 5-up wards or the Furnace go bye-bye. Yeah, got the Furnace with Lightning Storm. Blew him apart with Lightning Bolts. Other than that, heroic actions, we will try and heal the Star Drake some more. So 2d6. So d3 heal for 3. Taking him back to 8. Your heroic action for the turn. Trying to generate a CP. Will be a 2-up because your general is dead. So gets it. So heroic leadership on him. And with that, we'll go into movement and come back after it's all done. Alright, so that is it for movement for the Stormcast. We just moved the heroes up, the Star Drake jumping up into the centre there. And we also brought the Decimators on the backfield there. So this is what the table looks like. Time for some shooting. The Star Drake here is going to go into those Plague Monks. So he's got 3 shots with his rain stars now. 1 hit. 1 wound, Ren -3, so just 2 dead Plague Monks there. Just 2, not 3.
Oh, sorry.
But then I will use the Stormcaller Batten into him as well for D6. For 2. 3s to hit. And 3s to wound. 1 more dies, -1. So it was 3 in the end, you were right. So, charges. After that, we're going to go with the Decimators at the back there. So they need a 9. That's an 8. Ugh. So we are going to spend a point to reroll. For a 7, they are not going to make it. They will at least still get me my battle tactic. Star Drake. We are going to charge with him, might as well. He got a 9. We're going to charge the Lord Relictor in as well. with a 6, so he'll get there. Then the Lord Imperator will charge as well for a 9, so he'll go down. So, combat. We'll start with the Star Drake into those Plague Monks. So, first of all, 3 dice on 2-ups, he just eats them. So there's 2 eaten Plague Monks. 3 attacks with his sword, with his hammer, 2 hits. And that is another 2 dead because of the rends. So, got them all. Your turn. You've got one of your Plague Priests to go.
Yeah.
So, who's he attacking?
First dude.
In your Paraton. So, D3 attacks. 2 attacks with his Warpstone Tip Staff. 1 hit. And 4 to wound. No wounds. And then 2 attacks from the Plague Sensor. 1 hit. And 1 wound. So, 3 up. Fails. Actually takes a wound. Relictor will go into the one that has an attack then. So we are going to use, bottom of the turn, it's all out attack. So 2s. Oh. And 3s. That is just 2 damage on him. Can't do anything about it. And the other one can attack the Imperator again. So D3 attacks. For 1. He hits. And he wounds. So the Imperator on a 3-up. Saved. And then 2 attacks again with his other profile. Both hit. 1 wound. Again. Saved on the Imperator. Imperator will attack the same Plague Priest that's been thing. So we are 3 hits. And that is 6 damage. That kills the Plague Priest at the back. And with that, I'm going to control 2 objectives to your 1. So I'm going to get 1, 2 more, and my battle tactic for 5 points this turn as well. So priority for turn 4. Stormcast got a 4, Skaven got a 3. I think we can call game. Because regardless which objective you pick, I can take it at this point. 5 Decimators will annihilate them, and the Star Drake's just going to come eat them. And then and he's dead. So I think we can call this game. I mean, you'd probably pick best off picking this objective, I guess, for you. But it's still not going to help. Those Decimators are going to go in with 7 damage to attacks into that unit there, each. So with that is the first game of this new General Handbook we played. There's a few interesting. I think the +1 damage is huge. Like, there's no doubt in my mind they're dead. With, what is it, 7 times 5, whatever that is.
Lot.
Yeah, 7 times 5 is a lot. Good math here on the channel. That's what we can tell you. 7 times 5 equals a lot of dead Plague Monks. It's Ren 2, so like even if you can't even use all that defense to stop it. And then the Star Drake just comes down and probably eats most of them, and they probably, without the charge, don't do enough back. I think Plague Sensor Bearers were a really nice thing. I think a unit of 15 of them could be quite nice.
Definitely.
The Furnace was nice. It survived a lot better. You're unlucky with the Verminlord. Like, he rolled a 3 on the 2d6. If that's all of a sudden, you know, anywhere average, like a 7 or an 8, I think the Star Drake's probably dead.
Yeah, definitely.
So, a little bit unlucky on your part, but I think the +1 damage is massive. So, victory to the Stormcast. Good game, man. That was fun. Pestilens are definitely back, I think.
And so that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And drop us a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come help support the channel in another way, you can do so either by joining our Patreon or YouTube members, or grabbing some channel merch off our merch store on Teespring, which is on our YouTube store as well. You can also come chat with me and other members of our little community here and our Discord server, which is linked down in the video's description, along with the Patreon and YouTube members links. And as a special shout out to all those Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons, Christian Weir, James Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowe, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nilsson, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek, and Giapi390. And a special thank you to our YouTube members, Greenroots Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Locke Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Sean Scott, Pink Nico Fire, and Robin Mankiller as well. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, and to everyone who comes on the channel and helps us create everything we do. Thank you all for watching once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.